The massive screen in Earth's Deep Space Command Center lit up with countless red dots, each representing a warship heading toward the solar system. Admiral James Thompson stood before the display, his weathered face illuminated by the ominous glow. 30 years of military service had prepared him for this moment, though he had always hoped it would never come. "How many ships are we looking at?" he asked, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Over 3,000 vessels, sir," replied Lieutenant Mark Wilson from his monitoring station. "They're moving in a classic invasion formation. Based on their trajectory and speed, they'll reach Pluto's orbit in 72 hours. Thompson nodded slowly. The aliens clearly thought they were being clever, approaching from above the solar system's orbital plane where they assumed Earth's detection capabilities would be weakest. If only they knew. "Bring up the communication array," Thompson ordered. "Let's give them their fair warning." The command center hummed with activity as Earth's most powerful transmission system powered up. They had detected the fleet weeks ago, of course, but had waited until now to make contact. Let the aliens think their approach had gone unnoticed until the last moment. It would make their response all the more convincing. "Channel open, sir," announced Communications Officer Anna Hart. "We're ready to transmit." Thompson straightened his uniform and cleared his throat. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of all humanity's resolve. "This is Admiral James Thompson of the Earth Defense Force. Unknown fleet approaching the Sol system. We have detected your presence and trajectory. Be advised that this is a protected system under the sovereignty of humanity. We are a peaceful species, but we will defend our home with all necessary force. Alter your course now, or we will consider your approach an act of war. You have 24 hours to respond and change direction. This is your only warning." The message was transmitted in both radio waves and the more advanced quantum pulse format that humanity publicly pretended not to possess. They waited. 6 hours later, the response came. The main screen filled with the image of a creature that looked like a cross between a mantis and a lion, its chitinous armor gleaming under alien lights. "Primitive humans," the alien commander's translated voice dripped with contempt. "We are the Dominion, and we have conquered 1,000 worlds. Your pitiful species hasn't even colonized your own solar system. We detected your handful of primitive bases on your moon and Mars. Your warning is noted and dismissed. Prepare for incorporation into the Dominion. Resist and face extinction." The transmission cut off abruptly. Thompson allowed himself a small smile. "They took the bait," he said quietly. "Send word to all stations. Operation Sleeping Giant is now active." Throughout the solar system, hidden installations began powering up. Beneath the surface of Mars, massive hangar doors prepared to open. Inside the asteroid belt, automated factories that had been producing weapons and ships for decades received their activation codes. On Europa and Titan, concealed bases began launching stealth satellites. In his private office later that day, Thompson reviewed the latest intelligence reports. The Dominion had conquered many worlds, yes, but always following the same pattern. They judged a civilization's strength by its visible presence in space. Humanity had learned of their existence 20 years ago and had prepared accordingly. While maintaining a minimal official space presence, they had built their true forces in secret. "Computer," Thompson called out, "show me the current status of the defense grid." A holographic display appeared before him, showing the vast network of hidden defenses surrounding Earth. Everything was operating at peak efficiency. The Dominion fleet would have no idea what they were flying into. He thought back to the alien commander's arrogant dismissal. In 72 hours, they would learn why Sun Tzu had written, "Appear weak when you are strong." Humanity had taken that ancient wisdom to heart, and the Dominion was about to learn a very costly lesson about underestimating their prey. Thompson picked up his secure tablet and sent out one final order for the day. "All forces on standby. The enemy has made their choice. Now they face the consequences." Commander Lisa Reed stood in the control room of Luna Base Alpha, watching as the massive underground facility came to life. For 15 years, Humanity had kept this base hidden beneath the moon's surface, masked by a simple research station above. Now, as warning lights flashed and systems activated, she felt a mix of pride and anticipation. "Status report," she called out to her team. "All defense grid satellites are powering up, Mom," reported Technical Officer Robert Green. "Quantum links are stable. The Dominion sensors will only detect our decoy satellites." Reed walked between the rows of control stations, each staffed by an operator preparing Earth's true defenses. On the main screen, thousands of small dots appeared, showing the real extent of humanity's space presence. Hidden weapons platforms, stealth ships, and automated defense systems, all invisible to standard scans. "Begin powering up the Mars defense ring," she ordered. "Keep everything in stealth mode until my mark." The Red Planet had always been humanity's greatest deception. While the world saw only small research bases and early colonization attempts, vast underground cities housed their real military might. Beneath the rusty surface, hundreds of ships waited in massive hangars. Message from Admiral Thompson, Commander, called out Communications Officer David Wells. "They've taken the bait. Operation Sleeping Giant is active." Reed allowed herself a small smile. "Send the activation codes to all sleeper units in the asteroid belt. Wake up our hidden fleet." Throughout the solar system, humanity's true power stirred to life. In the asteroid belt, what appeared to be ordinary rocks split open, revealing automated weapons platforms. Near Jupiter's moons, cloaked shipyards began launching vessels that immediately activated their stealth systems. "Ma'am," called out Sensor Officer Janet Miller, "the Dominion fleet is maintaining their course. They're still using basic scan patterns. They haven't detected any of our active systems." Reed nodded. The aliens' arrogance was working in their favor. They were so convinced of humanity's weakness that they weren't even conducting detailed scans of the system. In her private command room, Reed reviewed the deployment of Earth's forces. The holographic display showed the true extent of humanity's preparation. Over 5,000 ships hidden throughout the solar system, each more advanced than anything the Dominion had encountered before. "Computer, show me the antimatter weapon status," she commanded. The display changed, revealing hundreds of antimatter missiles hidden in bases across the solar system. These weapons had never been used in actual combat before. The Dominion had no idea they even existed. "Commander," her computer announced, "quantum communication from Deep Space Command. Admiral Thompson requests a status update." Reed activated her quantum comlink, a technology the Dominion thought was impossible for primitive humans to possess. "All systems are green, Admiral. The Sol defense grid is fully operational. Mars defense ring is powered up but hidden. The asteroid belt units are in position." "Excellent work, Commander." Thompson's voice came through clearly, despite the distance. "Remember, let them get close. Let them think they've trapped us. The more overconfident they are, the more complete their defeat will be." As she ended the communication, Reed walked to the observation window overlooking the hidden hangar bay. Below, rows of advanced fighters and battleships stood ready. Each was equipped with technology that Earth had kept secret for decades: quantum shields, AI combat systems, and weapons that could tear through the strongest known alien defenses. "Time until the Dominion fleet reaches Mars orbit?" she asked. 48 hours at their current speed, Commander," replied Lieutenant Miller. Reed watched as another squadron of stealth fighters launched from the hangar, quickly vanishing from normal sight. "Send word to all commands. Final combat positions in 24 hours. Let's show these aliens why they should have taken our warning seriously." The Dominion thought they were hunting sheep. They had no idea they were walking into a lion's den. In 2 days, they would learn just how costly their mistake had been. The Dominion fleet entered the outer solar system like a swarm of locusts, their ships blocking out the distant stars. On the bridge of their command ship, Fleet Master Kron watched with satisfaction as they passed Neptune's orbit. The blue planet's rings sparkled in the dim sunlight, but he paid them no attention. His focus was on the small blue-green world ahead. "Status of the human defenses," he demanded. "Still nothing significant." "Fleet Master," his sensor officer reported. "We detect their primitive satellites and a few small bases on their moon and Mars. No major weapons or fleet movements." Kron's mandibles clicked in amusement. These humans had been bold enough to warn them away, yet they mounted no defense. Typical of young races, all talk, no strength. Meanwhile, in the hidden command center beneath the Olympus Mons on Mars, Admiral Thompson watched the Dominion fleet's approach on a three-dimensional holographic display. Every ship was tracked by sensors the aliens didn't know existed. "They're passing the outer warning buoys now, sir," Lieutenant Wilson reported. "Still no sign they've detected our real defenses." Thompson nodded. "Send the final warning message. Let's make our position absolutely clear before they seal their fate." The message was transmitted directly to the Dominion command ship. "Dominion fleet, you have entered the sovereign space of humanity, despite our warning. This is your final chance to withdraw. Continue your advance, and we will respond with full military force." On his command ship, Kron received the message and laughed, the sound echoing across his bridge. "Send our response. Let these primitives understand their place in the galaxy." The Dominion's message boomed through every human command center. "Primitive species who have not left their cradle have no right to sovereignty. Submit now, and we will be merciful. Resist, and we will turn your cities to ash. You have 1 hour to transmit your surrender." In the Mars command center, Thompson's expression hardened. "Send our final response." Commander Reed, watching from Luna Base Alpha, heard Thompson's voice transmit across all channels. "You were warned. What follows is of your own making." The Dominion fleet continued their advance, their formation spreading out to surround the inner solar system. They were following their standard conquest pattern. Position ships to blockade the target world, then demand surrender while demonstrating their overwhelming force. "Fleet Master," one of Kron's officers called out, "the humans are powering up some kind of primitive defense system around their planet." "Show me," Kron ordered. The display revealed a small network of satellites activating around Earth. They were obvious, easily detected, and completely harmless by Dominion standards. "Shall we destroy them?" his weapons officer asked. "No," Kron replied, mandibles forming what passed for a smile in his species. "Let them see how useless their defenses are as we fly right past them." In the Luna Base Command Center, Commander Reed watched the Dominion fleet's reaction to their decoy defense grid. "They're taking the bait perfectly," she reported to Thompson. "All real defense systems remain undetected." The Dominion fleet crossed Jupiter's orbit, their ships spreading wider, preparing to envelope the inner system in their net. They never noticed the quantum sensors tracking their every move, or the stealth ships shadowing their formation. "Fleet Master," Kron's second-in-command spoke up, "should we scan for hidden defenses?" The humans seem unusually calm. "Waste of energy," Kron dismissed the suggestion. "Their primitive technology can't hide anything from us. Look at their space presence, barely off their planet. They're like children playing at war." Thompson watched the final pieces fall into place. The Dominion fleet was now perfectly positioned, spreading themselves thin as they tried to surround Earth. They had no idea they were the ones being surrounded. "All commands," Thompson broadcast on the secure quantum network, "prepare for Phase 1. Let's show our visitors why they should have taken our warning seriously." The trap was set. In a few hours, the Dominion would learn the cost of their arrogance, and the galaxy would learn that humanity was not to be underestimated. As the Dominion fleet approached Mars orbit, Fleet Master Kron stood triumphantly on his bridge. His ships had formed a perfect sphere around the inner solar system, ready to begin their standard conquest procedure. The red planet hung in space before them, its small research bases clearly visible on the surface. "Begin the final approach," Kron ordered. "Prepare to launch our first wave off." He never finished the sentence. Suddenly, every faster-than-light drive in his fleet went dead. "Fleet Master," His engineering officer shouted, mandibles clicking in panic. Something's interfering with our quantum fields. We can't activate our jump drives. Impossible, Kron snarled. These primitives don't have. The space around Mars began to change. What looked like solid ground split apart as massive hangar doors opened across the planet's surface. Beneath the red dust, huge military installations revealed themselves. Hundreds of advanced warships rose from hidden bases, their weapons already charged. In the Mars Command Center, Admiral Thompson gave the order they'd been waiting to deliver. Spring the trap. All units, execute Phase 1. Commander Reed's voice came through from Luna Base. Activating the quantum defense grid now. Throughout the solar system, seemingly empty space flickered as stealth fields dropped. The Dominion fleet found themselves surrounded by more than 5,000 human warships, each larger and more advanced than anything they'd brought to the battle. Fleet Master. The sensor officer's voice was shaking. Multiple contacts appearing. Everywhere. They're all around us. From the asteroid belt, automated defense platforms emerged from their hiding places. Near Jupiter's moons, massive battleships decloaked. Even the primitive satellites around Earth transformed, revealing themselves as advanced weapon platforms. Impossible, Kron roared. Where did they hide all this? Our scans showed nothing. In Luna Base, Commander Reed allowed herself a small smile as she gave the next order. Activate the Mars defense platforms. The surface of Mars rippled again as massive gun batteries emerged from underground bunkers. Each one was powered by antimatter reactors, technology the Dominion had thought was centuries beyond human capability. This is Admiral Thompson to the Dominion fleet. The transmission carried across all frequencies. You are now surrounded and cut off from escape. Your faster-than-light capabilities have been neutralized by our quantum interference grid. You have 60 seconds to power down your weapons and engines. On his command ship, Kron frantically ordered scans of the human forces. The results made his blood run cold. The humans didn't just have ships. They had technology that shouldn't have been possible for their level of civilization. Try to contact the High Command, he ordered. We need reinforcements. Sir, his communications officer replied, all quantum communications are being blocked. We're cut off. From hidden bases across the solar system, more human ships appeared, sleek destroyers, massive carriers, and swarms of automated drones moved into attack positions. The Dominion fleet, which had arrived so confidently to conquer, now found themselves trapped in a web of their own making. 30 seconds, Thompson's voice came again. Power down your ships, or we will be forced to demonstrate exactly how outmatched you are. In the Luna Base Command Center, Commander Reed watched the tactical display as the last pieces fell into place. Their trap had worked perfectly. The Dominion fleet had spread themselves thin trying to surround Earth, making them vulnerable to attack from all sides. Status of the quantum containment field, she asked. 100% effective, Commander, her tactical officer reported. Their faster-than-light drives are completely neutralized. They're not going anywhere. The Dominion ships hung in space, their confident invasion formation now looking more like a frightened huddle. They had come expecting to find primitive humans cowering behind simple defenses. Instead, they found themselves caught in the most sophisticated military trap they'd ever encountered. 10 seconds, Thompson's final warning echoed through space. The trap was sprung, and now the real demonstration of human military power was about to begin. The 60 seconds passed in tense silence. Fleet Master Kron's pride wouldn't let him surrender, even as his tactical display showed the hopelessness of their situation. Open fire, he roared. Show these humans the might of the Dominion. The Dominion fleet's weapons blazed to life, filling space with energy beams and plasma torpedoes. For a brief moment, Kron felt hope, until he saw what happened next. The human ships didn't dodge. They didn't have to. The advanced attack simply splashed harmlessly against quantum shields that shouldn't have existed. Now, Admiral Thompson's calm voice carried across all channels. "Let us show you what real military power looks like." Commander Reed gave the order from Luna Base. "All units, execute Battle Plan Delta. Disable their ships, but try to avoid casualties. They need to survive to carry our message home." What followed wasn't just a battle. It was a demonstration. Swarms of human drones, each controlled by advanced AI systems, darted between the Dominion ships. They targeted engines and weapons with surgical precision, cutting through the aliens' best defenses like paper. "Fleet Master," Kron's weapons officer shouted in panic. "Their weapons, they're using targeted antimatter charges. That's impossible for their level of development." From his command center on Mars, Thompson watched as the human forces executed their carefully planned attack. The Dominion fleet's formation collapsed into chaos as ships tried desperately to defend against attacks coming from all directions. "Sir," Lieutenant Wilson reported, "the enemy's shields are failing. Their technology can't handle our quantum phase weapons." The battle for Sol system lasted exactly 17 minutes. The human forces moved with perfect coordination, their AI battle networks predicting and countering every Dominion tactic. When the aliens tried to concentrate their fire on one sector, stealth ships would appear behind them. When they attempted to form defensive clusters, quantum torpedoes would pass straight through their shields. "This is impossible," Kron raged as another section of his fleet went dark. They were supposed to be primitive. Their technology shouldn't be this advanced. In Luna Base, Commander Reed directed the final phase of the battle. "Target their command ship's engines. Let's end this." A squadron of human destroyers emerged from stealth directly above Kron's vessel. Their weapons fired in perfect synchronization, cutting through the command ship's defenses and disabling its main systems. "Fleet Master," Kron's engineering officer reported, voice trembling, "we've lost power to all weapons and engines. Life support is running on backup power." Across the battlefield, the story was the same. The mighty Dominion invasion fleet hung powerless in space, their ships disabled by weapons they couldn't understand, surrounded by forces they never saw coming. "Status report," Thompson called out. "Enemy fleet is 97% disabled." "Sir," came the response. "Minimal casualties on both sides. Most of their ships are intact but powerless." Commander Reed's voice came through the quantum comm. "All sectors report success. The Dominion fleet has been completely neutralized." Thompson nodded and opened a channel to the crippled command ship. "Fleet Master Kron, your invasion has failed. Your ships are disabled. Your forces are defeated. Do you understand now why you should have heeded our warning?" On his darkened bridge, Kron stared at the tactical display showing his defeated fleet. 3,000 ships, the pride of the Dominion, neutralized in minutes by the very primitives they'd come to conquer. "How?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "How did you hide all this?" Thompson's reply was cold. "You saw what we wanted you to see. You believed what you wanted to believe. And now you've learned what happens to those who threaten humanity." The battle was over. In less than 20 minutes, humanity had demonstrated military superiority that would send shockwaves through the galaxy. But as Thompson looked at the scattered remnants of the Dominion fleet, he knew this was just the beginning. The Sol system had become a graveyard of Dominion ambitions. Thousands of alien ships floated powerless, their once proud fleet reduced to silent hulks against the backdrop of stars. On his crippled command ship, Fleet Master Kron had never felt so humbled in his long military career. "Open a channel to the human command," he ordered, his voice heavy with defeat. I wish to discuss terms." In the Mars Command Center, Admiral Thompson received the request with a grim smile. "Put him through on the main screen," he ordered. "Let's hear what the Dominion has to say now." The screen lit up showing Kron's bridge, emergency lights casting shadows across his alien features. Gone was the arrogant conqueror who had dismissed humanity's warning. In his place sat a broken commander who had just witnessed his entire fleet defeated in minutes. "Admiral Thompson," Kron began, his translator struggling to convey the mix of fear and respect in his voice. "We request mercy. We offer our surrender. Now you want to negotiate." Thompson's voice was cold steel. "The time for that was when we warned you to stay away from our system. Remember your own words about primitive species." Commander Reed's voice came through on a private channel. "Sir, we're detecting multiple attempts by Dominion crews to activate hidden emergency beacons. They're trying to call for help." Thompson nodded. "Don't worry, Commander. They'll soon learn that doesn't work either." Turning back to the main screen, Thompson addressed Kron. "Your emergency signals won't work. Every quantum frequency you might use is blocked. You are completely at our mercy, the same mercy you planned to show Earth. Please." Kron's mandibles clicked nervously. "We acknowledge your superior strength. The Dominion will recognize Earth as a sovereign power. We will pay reparations." "You still don't understand," Thompson interrupted. "We don't want your recognition. We don't need it. What we want is to send a message." On Thompson's signal, Commander Reed activated a special program. On every functioning screen in the Dominion fleet, images began to play. Recordings of human ships and bases throughout the galaxy, far beyond the Sol system. "You thought we were confined to our solar system." Thompson's voice carried across all channels. "Look carefully. We've been watching the galaxy for decades. We know about the worlds you've conquered, the species you've enslaved. We chose to appear weak, to see who would reveal themselves as a threat." Kron's compound eyes widened as he watched. Hidden bases on distant moons, cloaked observation posts near Dominion worlds, human ships that had shadowed their fleet undetected for years. In Luna Base, Commander Reed watched the alien leader's reaction with satisfaction. "Show them the Mars recordings," she suggested. New images appeared. The construction of the massive underground bases on Mars, built decades ago, while the Dominion thought humans were just starting to explore their red neighbor. "Your entire invasion fleet," Thompson continued, "was defeated using less than 30% of our available forces. This was not a battle. It was a demonstration." What are your terms?" Kron asked, his earlier arrogance completely evaporated. "You will carry our message back to the Dominion. Your ships will be repaired enough for a single jump home. You will tell your leaders what happened here. And you will share the data we're uploading to your systems, proof of our capabilities and our reach." Silent minutes passed as Kron absorbed the truth of humanity's power. Finally, he bowed his head in submission. "It will be done as you say." Thompson's final words carried the weight of all humanity. "Remember this day, Fleet Master. Remember what happened when you ignored our warning. The galaxy will soon know. Humanity is not to be trifled with." As the communication ended, Thompson turned to his staff. "Begin repairs on their essential systems. Let's send our guests home with a story they'll never forget." The turning point had come. Humanity had revealed itself not as a primitive species taking its first steps into space, but as a sleeping giant that had finally been roused to action. The galaxy would never be the same. 2 days after the battle, Admiral Thompson stood at the observation deck of Mars Command, watching as the last repaired Dominion ships prepared to jump home. Their once gleaming hulls now bore the scars of humanity's power, a permanent reminder of their costly mistake. Commander Reed appeared at his side, tablet in hand. "The final ship reports they're ready for jump, sir. All repair crews have withdrawn to safe distance." "Excellent," Thompson nodded. "And the data package?" "Uploaded to every ship's computer core. They couldn't delete it even if they tried." Reed allowed herself a small smile. "The Dominion's leadership will see exactly what happened here, from every angle." The remaining Dominion ships formed up in a ragged formation, a far cry from their proud arrival. Fleet Master Kron's voice came through one final time. We are ready to depart, Admiral." "Remember what you saw here," Thompson replied. "Remember what you learned about judging species by appearances." In a flash of quantum energy, the Dominion fleet vanished, carrying their message of defeat back to their empire. As soon as they departed, hidden sensors throughout the system confirmed they had followed their prescribed course. No tricks, no deviations. Begin Phase 2, Thompson ordered. Across the solar system, humanity's forces started emerging from their hiding places. The massive underground hangars of Mars opened fully, revealing shipyards that stretched for kilometers. From Jupiter's moons, mining operations that had been disguised as research stations revealed their true nature, manufacturing centers for advanced quantum weaponry. In the Luna Base Command Center, Reed oversaw the deployment of new defense platforms. Cloak disengagement is complete, she reported. The galaxy will now see our true capabilities. Send the signal to our deep space bases, Thompson commanded. It's time to let everyone know that humanity is stepping onto the galactic stage. Throughout the Milky Way, hidden human outposts received their orders. Observation posts near alien worlds decloaked. Trade ships that had been gathering intelligence while pretending to be primitive merchants revealed their advanced nature. The galaxy's political landscape changed overnight. Back on Earth, the Global Defense Council convened an emergency session. Thompson and Reed attended via quantum hologram, their images standing before the assembled leaders of humanity. The Dominion fleet has been dispatched, Thompson reported, but they won't be the last to test us. Others will come, hoping to prove themselves against the species that humbled the mighty Dominion. Let them come, Council Leader Martinez declared. We've hidden our strength long enough. The galaxy needs to know that Earth is not an easy target. Reed brought up a galactic display showing hundreds of hidden human installations. Our strategy of appearing weak while building our strength has paid off. We now have bases and observation posts across 3 spiral arms. No major civilization can move against us without being detected. And the other races the Dominion has conquered? Someone asked. That's our next step, Thompson replied. We've already received signals from resistance movements on 12 worlds. They've seen what happened here. They want our help. The council chambers filled with discussion. Humanity had planned for this moment for decades, preparing to step out of the shadows and take their place among the stars. Not as conquerors like the Dominion, but as protectors of those who couldn't defend themselves. Later that evening, Thompson and Reed stood on the real observation deck of Luna Base, looking at Earth shining bright against the black of space. Do you think the Dominion will try again? Reed asked. Thompson shook his head. No, they learned their lesson. But others will come. And thanks to our preparation, we'll be ready. Just like the old saying, Reed smiled. Speak softly and carry a big stick. We gave them their warning, Thompson agreed. They chose to ignore it. Now the galaxy knows. Humanity's stick is bigger than anyone imagined. As they watched, a flight of patrol ships passed overhead, no longer hiding their presence. The time for deception was over. Humanity had revealed its true strength, and the galaxy would never be the same. The warning had been ignored. The consequences had been delivered. And now, a new chapter in human history had begun.